cry when cutting onions, maybe recently you cried as you've been following the news. However, surprisingly or not, these are not the same tears. So let's first quickly differentiate the three kinds. Research proves that a human produces basal, reflex, and emotional tears. The first are always in your eyes, lubricating and nourishing them. The second happens when an eye gets exposed to irritants such as onion fumes or smoke. And the third are a natural response to a range of emotions from deep sadness and grief to extreme happiness and joy. And today I'd like to focus on the last one. What if I ask you if you remember the first time you cried? I bet you don't, but there's a very high probability it was when you were born. I think it's safe to say that every one of us welcomed to the world with a cry. It's a built-in reflex, something natural, inborn. Our first breath was initiated by a cry. And I can imagine as a part of persistent in parenthood, the incessant crying of a baby leaves them irritated to no end. However, this first cry is always one of the most joyous moments of a parent's life. This assures the doctor as well that the baby has picked one of the most important signs for survival. Later on, crying isn't associated with words like happiness or cheerfulness. Its meaning shifts completely. Instead of joyful like the first cry, it becomes joyless. And I'm not saying that the interpretation is wrong, but let's look at this phenomenon which is crying from a different perspective, a positive one. Let's say that a person who cries is powerful, not powerless, strong, not weak. Crying makes humans unique and special. Do you know that a human is the only living being that can produce emotional tears? Out of around 8.7 million species on Earth, only we have this ability. So why not embrace it? Why hide away from it and avoid it at all costs? Crying after suffering from a loss, after experiencing a hard time, or even after seeing a sad movie makes us human. It's a natural response to the buildup of emotions, and not only sadness. People even cry when they're happy and are overfilled with joy. Crying simply because of a feeling is one of few and only similarities an adult shares with an infant, a baby. While maturing, kids seem to grow with the constant urge to eat everything, they grow with the need to have their toys every step of the way, they even learn how to solve math equations. But one of the few things they can't seem to grow out of is crying because of an emotion. This stays with us for life. No matter if we are 5, 20, or 60, shedding emotional tears isn't foreign to us. Crying builds relationships and helps people bond. Crying makes a person vulnerable, first because it isn't like making a smile. We can't just cry on command, it's a rather unusual occurrence. And secondly, tears naturally blur vision, which puts us at a disadvantage. And blinking those tears away isn't fast nor easy. So that's why I think everyone has a different relationship with crying. Some prefer to sob alone and lock themselves away, while others seek comfort and company of the closest during such time. Being emotional and expressing your feelings in general is deeply personal. Crying is a form of letting those emotions out and is much more intimate than just a conversation. Tears are not an everyday form of communication, which makes them an even more prized possession. I would even say that crying in front of others and opening up to them in such a way is brave. It shows them that you are not afraid of being helpless and fragile in front of them. According to Dr. Hassan from Tel Aviv University, crying is an evolution-based mechanism to bring people closer together. He says that tears are signals, clues that give reliable information, which also brings me to my next point. Crying is a form of communication. Humans come into the world mentally and physically unequipped to deal with anything on their own. Babies can't speak, so they communicate through giggling and crying. And the aim of those tears is to inform others of their needs and wants. And yes, it is annoying to hear those high-pitched sounds all day, but if not for them, we will not be able to understand the baby. We will not be able to provide sufficient care for them. That's why these little tears hold a much more significant meaning. I see them as a form of language. When I look at the picture on the left, I see a boy who is upset, hurt, and in need of help. However, when I see the picture on the right, I see someone who is surprised, maybe confused. But why? When they're the same pictures, and the only difference is that one has had the tears removed digitally. Well, this proves the magic of tears. Crying is not only signaling, but also lifting empathy and compassion. It plays a crucial role during conversations. It evokes a reaction. Tears not only portray someone's emotion, but also convey requests without words. They help us pass on information without speaking, when words are not enough to express what you feel. Crying has a soothing effect. I would say that crying is one of the last stages of holding your emotions in. It's an effect of a gradual build-up. It's the same as with balloons. You can blow them up until they reach their peak, and then, if you don't stop the air from coming, they pop. They pop because they don't have any more place left for the air. Now, imagine that your body is a balloon, and the air is tied by your feelings. You can't just pop like a balloon does. So what are you supposed to do with the excess of feelings? You cry. You cry because it's the only way you'll be able to release the stress, the pain, or even the overfilling joy. Crying is a form of letting go and letting yourself analyze a situation you found yourself in. After reaching a peak and having a good cry, your mood can actually improve. A balloon that pops, lets the air out, and comes back to its natural form. The same happens with humans. Tears release stress and let you overcome the state of being overwhelmed. Additionally, the purifying that crying has a soothing effect has a scientific explanation. Crying releases both oxytocin and endorphins, and these feel-good chemicals help ease both physical and emotional pain. As you can see, emotional crying can be greatly beneficial, and there's much more to it than meets the eye. And it's not like anything I've said today has been newly discovered information. In 2013, in Tokyo, the first crying club was opened. After that, many cities, even countries, followed. At first, it might be surprising that Japan, which prides itself on discipline and control, came up with such an idea. But hopefully after my today's talk, you understand why crying is a crucial element when it comes to dealing with your emotions. These places are a safe space for a reset. So remember, next time you cry, don't be ashamed of it,